Hi, I'm Judy Tyabji. Thank you so much for joining us today in the middle of the holiday season. I hope you're having a great break for those of you who are. And today's topic may be something that you don't want to be thinking about as we're all overindulging in the food. But it comes under the heading of health. As you know, we've looked at hepatitis C, we've looked at prostate cancer as an issue, and we've talked about AIDS. Today we're going to talk about hormones in our food, and it falls under the category of food safety. And it has to do with the debate that's taking place among a number of different groups. One is a consumers group, the other are those who would like to sell some of the additives to food, and the third would be the milk industry, who are sort of ambivalent is, I think, a generous way of putting it, toward the additive that's being pushed. But I want to give you some background to the story. Actually, this story dates back to 1995. It's one of the stories that's been kind of underground because the controversy has been occurring behind the scenes. Here's a story that was prepared at the time that this issue broke by Bruce Kirkpatrick.
The man who owns this farm and who was president of Island Farms Dairies for 30 years worries that a hormone called BST, bovine somatotropin, might be allowed in Canada.
Through the selection of better bulls and better feeding over the years, we've doubled our production in the last about 30 years, and we don't feel we actually need any boost from any drugs at this point in time.
BST is cheaper than expensive milk-producing feed. That's why some farmers like it, but it has numerous side effects. And they include udder infections, reproductive problems, a reduced lifespan, digestive disorders, and foot and leg ailments.
It may affect fertility and early lactation because it does put a little bit more nutritional stress on the animal.
Cows that are injected with BST sometimes get sick and have to be put on antibiotics, which could end up in the milk we drink. That lowers humans' immune systems and eventually can make humans immune to antibiotics.
Every tanker load of milk that is received at Island Farms is checked for antibiotics before it's unloaded, and we just don't have that problem anymore.
Chicago University professor Dr. Samuel Epstein has studied BST. Some of his findings indicate that BST has the potential to cause gastrointestinal cancer or breast cancer, but these findings are not definitive.
Moo, ain't it great to take hormones? Increases my milk, but
the Raging Grannies staged a demonstration outside Island Farms Dairies in Victoria, and an environmentalist agreed with them.
There are a lack of long-term studies. We don't know what this is going to do to our children. There are no safety studies.
In Canada, we have a surplus of milk. We don't need this sort of methodology to increase milk production.
There's some breaking news today on this issue. It's something we should all be concerned about. We'll go beyond just milk and talk about food safety and some of those additives. We'll be back with your calls to this number after a break.
What do you love about MeTV?
for me it's sports.
Everyone has found their favorites.
So into history.
But alas, the MeTV free preview will soon be history. So call today to order. Then you can keep on enjoying all of MeTV's 16 great channels whenever you want, wherever you want.
For me, it's comedy.
Call 1-888-ROGERS-1 to get MeTV for as little as $5.99 a month. You could even win 50 grand. Be sure to order before the preview ends.
Thrifty Foods, homemade pizzas. Pizza's my favorite.
Uncle Ben's converted rice, a good alternative to potatoes. It's a good staple in your diet. It's good for you.
Uncle Ben's classic recipe is terrific. A little jazzier, a little nicer than just plain rice. I like pasta, any kind of pasta.
The smiles in the aisle for you.
Vancouver Island's homegrown food store.
Thrifty Foods.
They'll make you smile. They'll make you laugh. You can't help but love these wacky babies. The cutest, funniest, most hilarious home video you have ever seen. Your whole family will fall for these cute, cuddly clowns. Wacky Babies is filmed by world-famous filmmaker Marty Stauffer. You've seen Marty's Wild America series on TV. Call now to order Wacky Babies through this special TV offer. Order now and you'll also receive Queen of the Ice, free. This special television offer is not available in stores. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call now. Now available around the world from Interwood.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-937-0874 or send check or money order to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-937-0874 now.
How do you feel about what's in your food? Right now there's a debate going on about whether or not there should be hormones added to milk production. And the debate in the United States is going on while the hormone is being added. And in fact, in some states, social activists and consumer groups are being threatened with lawsuits if they come out saying that there could be a food safety issue. So much for free speech. Anyway, today we have two people who are on the consumer point of view. We do not have industry representatives, although we have correspondence from them, and we do not have people from, when I say industry, the milk industry, and we don't have anyone from Monsanto, which is an American, what do you call it, company. I was going to say chemical company, I guess that's a good. So our two guests today, Michelle Grant, Canadians for Safe Food, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Derek Mallard, we saw you in the background piece as well, and you're with CASE.
Hello.
And CASE stands for?
Citizens Association to Save the Environment. It's a mouthful, but it's a good acronym.
Okay. Well, I think what we need to ask, first of all, is given that we have the Health Safety Board, we have the Veterinary Board that's a licensing agency with so many levels of government that are supposed to be protecting our health, why should we be concerned about the process for licensing, if we're talking about an additive?
I think we should be concerned about the process. In May of '97, Dr. Donald Loundry of the Health Protection Board, he was the acting chair for the Veterinarian Drugs Bureau of Health Canada, indicated and was quoted in the Globe and Mail as the fact that the Health Protection branch considers the pharmaceutical companies to be their main client. And I think
the Health Protection branch should be, we should be their main client.
Exactly.
The public should be their main client.
They're supposed to be protecting us,
right,
not just concerned about doing business with the pharmaceutical companies.
Okay, and a pharmaceutical company would, I guess, include a company like Monsanto.
Exactly.
So given all of that, why would we be concerned? The milk additive that they're talking about is something called BST, which has now been licensed in the States for, 4 years? And it's under consideration here. So why would we be concerned about that one?
Well, number one, we certainly don't need to increase our milk production. We already have a surplus. The other point is, going back to the previous comment, the decisions made on this substance and other similar situations are made by Ministry of Health and Agri-Food in Ottawa. There is very little input from the provinces, and there's virtually damn all from we, the consumers. Mm-hmm. There has to be a very strong consumer's voice.
Okay. Now, in this case, though, what would the concerns be? We saw some in the background case, but it has been licensed in the United States for 4 years. Wouldn't there be some more indication that there should be this level of concern?
Well, I, for one, am very concerned about the possible links between BGH and using BGH on dairy cows and its possible impact on human health. There's indications that it has links to breast and colon cancer.
And those indications are coming out of scientific studies then? Or?
Yes, they are.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to give some background on this issue to people, as far as BST and milk additives and all those kinds of things. And let me just get my notes here. So for that, and it has to do with Monsanto. The American corporation Monsanto has gained approval for use of the growth hormone in the United States and is now seeking the same approval in Canada. This hormone can boost milk production by as much as 25%, but it may also increase disease in cows, and those diseases would require treatment with antibiotics. More antibiotics in our milk could lead to more antibiotic resistance in humans, making it harder to treat people with illnesses. And the hormone may boost what is known as insulin growth factor in milk, and that in turn could cause gastrointestinal and breast cancers in people. While Ottawa grapples with the issue, the BC government position is clear. The province says the federal government must delay approval of hormone treatment until there is certainty of no negative impact upon the health of humans and dairy cows. And as I mentioned when we started the show, today there's been some breaking news. Actually, the Times Colonist has reported it under the headline, "Drug to Boost Growth Among Dairy Cows Gets Federal Go Slow." And what the federal government has announced is that an expert advisory committee will be appointed in the new year to ensure any decision made on this additive is based on sound science. And in this, it quotes you, Derek, as saying that you're concerned about who's going to sit on the committee and how they will be chosen. Now, in a case like that, I mean, if a scientific committee studies this, is it something that we should say, oh, well, you know, it's been studied and that's good enough? Or how public is this process going to be? Who's pushing this anyway? If the industry doesn't seem to be pushing it, consumers aren't pushing it, why is this becoming urgent enough that we're wasting tax dollar paying? I shouldn't say wasting, but that we're going to have another committee.
Perhaps one of the reasons is with the international trade agreements. There is no doubt about it. If this substance is adopted in Canada,
right,
then it will put us on what Mulroney used to call a level playing field. Otherwise, we could be swamped with American milk in the future.
Now, why would that be? Oh, because of the trade agreements, we may
That's
be
right.
forced to bring in their milk
Yes.
instead of having our own. Okay, we're going to start taking calls now, and we'll develop this as we go along. But let's start with Bill in Abbotsford. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a few comments. The first one being that I did some studying at Michigan State University for my graduate studies.
Okay.
First of all, there's probably more research been done on this product than any other product that's been researched to go into the food production.
Right.
First of all, it's correct that the BST doesn't actually show up in the milk of the cows. And you also mentioned the IGF.
Right, the insulin growth factor, right.
Correct. Those levels that are in the milk as a result of the BST are actually at lower levels than what would naturally occur in, excuse me,
right,
in humans' breast milk, for example.
Okay, so what you're saying is that based on what you've looked at,
Yeah.
you think there's been adequate research, or at least enough research to say that there isn't a problem?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And some of the other stuff that's coming out might be as a result of people trying to find reasons why it might not be acceptable. But I think in general, there's probably more research been done on that product than most any other product that's ever come out.
Okay, well, thank you for that perspective. And I think what's interesting there is that certainly when you read what the American Food and Drug Administration say, they say that indeed this has been very well studied and that there's no side effects that they can determine. What are your comments on that?
Well, I actually was looking through some information that I had, and it showed that Monsanto early on did a two-week trial, which was published in, I think, the Food and Drug Administration magazine, which showed that they fed mature rats doses of BGH for 2 weeks. They found that caused...
BGH is the same as BST?
BST.
Okay, same substance, okay.
That caused significant bone growth, as well as significant changes to the liver, and that was very quickly passed over. They only did it for 2 weeks, but statistically there were significant changes.
Okay.
And I think even though we are feeding it, it's going to be injected to cattle and then coming through to us. I just do not believe that there has been significant enough research done to prove, to me anyway, that it is safe for us to consume. And when you think that dairy is one of our 4 major food groups, I mean, this is not something that we can say 5 years down the road, oops, that was a bad idea.
Okay, now in your case, you've also circulated a petition. Well, I guess what I'm still trying to find out is that whether you like this or don't like it, the milk industry, and I've seen the correspondence from them, don't seem keen on getting it. So there doesn't seem to be a need for this. So all other things being equal, even if it were a good thing, what is the purpose of that, and what is the purpose of your petition?
Well, the purpose of the petition and the over 900 letters that went from Salt Spring Island to Alan Rock and Lyle Van Cleef, the Minister of Agriculture, were to tell him that we're opposed to BGH. We don't want our milk tampered with. We believe that the only one who is to benefit from it is Monsanto. They stand to make millions. They have already spent millions in research dollars to put this through. They're not They keep trying to push it. Even in yesterday's newscast on CBC, Monsanto was asking, when Health Canada indicated that they wanted to do more research, Monsanto's spokesperson said, why does Canada feel it's necessary to invent the wheel? The American Food and Drug Administration have already passed it. Why can't that be good enough for Canada?
I want to take one quick call, actually, before we take the break. And let's talk to Alan in Victoria. Hi, Alan.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks. Go ahead.
I don't think, like in the dairy industry, a lot of people don't realize that if the GATT ruling is opened up, that we will be getting milk from the States, and the chain stores will take the cheapest price they can get, and it's cheaper in the United States. But the simple reason is, right now, there's millions of dollars every year and every month that the BC Milk Board lose because people are going across the border to buy milk and products like that.
Okay.
And if the GATT ruling opens up, you're going to see that milk hit the BC market.
Okay, now when you say when the GATT ruling opens up, you're talking about once we don't have protections.
Yes, if they allow the GATT ruling to
get rid of the marketing board.
That's right.
Right, Article 11 or whatever.
And if they do that, they're already doing that to the cattle in the United States, and they're flooding the borders with it, and people are already drinking.
Okay, well, thank you for that, actually. I think you've reminded us of an important point. What he's talking about is the General Agreement on Tariffs of Trade, which we are signatory to, has an article. Some people are saying that the Milk Marketing Board is not legal. It's been challenged. Currently, marketing boards are still around. He says that this will allow people to produce milk less expensively, more cheaply. And what about that? The bottom line. Any comments on that?
The research of Monsanto's that I was reading through, there was a study that was done by the University of Guelph, and it indicated that at the very most, it'll only make 1 or 2 cents difference for the consumer, say per liter, at the very most, which is really insignificant. I think the one who stands to lose is the farmer, especially the smaller farmer, who now has to pay more. Who has to pay money in order to get this drug, which then has to be which is then injected into the cows every 2 weeks.
Right.
They may or may not. Monsanto is saying that it will increase milk production by 10 to 15%.
Therefore you recover your cost or whatever.
Except they are also going to require more antibiotics because of the increased stress.
Okay, we're over time for break. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. We're talking about food safety and the proposal to add a hormone to our milk.
Tyabji is brought to you in part by Metro Lexus Toyota, leaders in customer satisfaction.
When should you plant geranium cuttings? What's the only time of year to safely move peonies? How long can live Christmas trees remain indoors? Get answers to these and other questions by ordering the Get Up and Grow Gardening Guide and Calendar for 1998. Gord Nickel, host of the Get Up and Grow TV show, has compiled over 360 useful tips to help novices and green thumbs alike succeed in the garden. All of this timely information has been combined with rich botanical illustrations to give you an invaluable resource.
Hi, I'm Gord Nickel, host of Get Up and Grow, seen every Saturday morning on Check TV. Order the Get Up and Grow Gardening Guide and Calendar now, and you'll receive a Forget-Me-Not seed package at no extra cost.
To order your gardening guide and calendar, send $12.99 plus $2 shipping and handling to the address on your screen, or call 1-888-456-5577 and have your credit card handy. The guide is also available at Canner Nursery in Victoria, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. Call now and get growing in 1998.
What do you think?
Now, save on every Jenner appliance in stock at Trail. From cooktops to ovens, ranges, and refrigerators. All at truly exceptional savings only at Trail Appliances.
Convection range.
Ice maker.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation of Canada makes wishes come true for children with life-threatening illnesses. Tara's wish was that her dog Boomer appear in a national television commercial. Wick is the corporate parent to this and 20 other television and radio stations across Canada. We support the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Like you, we care about this community. So anyway, this is Boomer, and this is Tara, and this is a wish come true.
libel suits in the United States. But first, let's talk to Cindy in Vancouver. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Hi.
I've called your show before.
Okay.
I have a person who lives in my house who has AIDS. It's my son's father.
Right.
Now, my concern is that he needs a lot of fat in his diet to sustain his weight.
Right.
Now, the best way to get that is dairy products. And with the concerns with antibiotics being pumped into these animals,
right,
the chance that his ability to rely on antibiotics not only to sustain his life, but to give him some semblance of a healthiness, it majorly concerns me. Not only that, but the concern of the health of the animals. And I mean, don't we have ethics here on how to treat animals? If this is going to cause them pain and unhealthiness, like,
right,
why are we even considering this?
Okay, well, I think those are a couple of very interesting points. In that case, too, is the insulin, there was one caller who said the research shows that the insulin level's no higher. I've got documents here that show that some studies say that there is a higher level. How will it be passed on to humans? What kind of impact would that be, or what do you think? Any ideas? Go ahead. You don't have to be so polite. It reminds you of those two chipmunks. No, after you.
Well, there are certainly numerous studies which indicate that the IGF factor 1 will be increased.
Now that's the insulin growth factor.
That's right.
Okay. Now one of these things said something about intestinal growth or something.
Well, one of the reports indicate, or at least several of these reports indicate that if the IGF factor is increased, then it increases the potential for gastrointestinal and breast cancer to the consumer. So if there's any doubt at all, then it should be prohibited.
Now, the antibiotic reference that was in there, you said that they have to be given antibiotics in the case of infections that may develop from the hormone.
Because BGH or RBST stimulates the cow to produce more milk, we end up, the cow is put under increasing amounts of stress, and that then causes mastitis in a lot of cases to set in. And this has been found to be the findings of, I think it was 800 farmers in the Wisconsin area who used RBST on their herds, and found that there was increased mastitis.
That's an infection that needs to be treated with
antibiotics. That's right, that has to be treated with antibiotics.
Now, do the antibiotics appear in the milk, or is that something, because the dairy farmers say that has to be taken out before it's sent to market?
They do appear in the milk. There is, I believe, each large amount of milk, when it's collected, is tested for the amount of antibiotic residue, and they are, in some cases, they don't pass the test, and therefore the milk is rejected. But I think it comes back to the big point, which is that, one, we don't need this. There are so many reasons not to do it, health reasons, as well as anyone who's concerned about the welfare of animals. Putting stress on cows simply for Monsanto to make more money isn't a good enough reason.
Okay, I want to take one more call quickly. Let's talk to Deborah in Sechelt. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, go ahead.
I have a concern, aside from all this other questions. My son is growth delayed, and there are many young children probably who are growth delayed.
Right.
He has finally started growing on his own.
Right.
And he can actually develop a problem with his own growth hormone if other growth hormones are introduced into his system. Has this been researched?
Oh boy, that's a very specialized question and a very important one. Does it pass on, or is it just something that the cow retains in her own system, the growth hormone?
I don't think we've really studied that enough to know. I think with hormones, because they regulate every function in our body, and some hormones are dependent upon other hormones to complete their job. We shouldn't really be messing around with things. We need a lot more long-term studies with any of these biogenetically engineered products, which is what BGH is. You're introducing problems for people with allergies because you're taking a gene from another product and introducing it into another product and creating this new product, which then can cause all sorts of problems, which we really have not done the research for. We don't know.
We have to take a break, but just before we do, if you'd like more information on this issue, or if you can write to Michelle Grant, Canadians for Safe Food, 230 Upper Ganges Road, Salt Spring Island, BC, V8K 2P8, and you can phone or fax 250-537-9634. And you can contact Derek Mallard at the Citizens Association to Save the Environment, 6093 Brecken Drive, Souk, BC, VOS1NO, and the email is envduck@pacificcoast.net. And if you'd like to get involved in this, the two federal ministers responsible, the Honourable Alan Rock is the Minister of Health and the Honourable Lyle Van Cleef is the Minister of Agriculture. You can write to them without a postage stamp, House of Commons, Ottawa, Ontario, K1A OC5. And even if you just want more information about what the government's doing or some of the research where they say it could be safe, we'll be right back after break, and we will talk about the libel suits after the break.
The gloves are off at your participating Up Island Honda dealers. Buy or lease a new 1998 Civic hatchback and take delivery by January 5th. We'll make your first payment, plus drive away with 3.8% financing. Rev in the new year at Discovery Honda in Duncan or Island Honda in Courtney.
We wish you a Moxie Christmas. We wish you a Moxie Christmas. We wish you a Moxie Christmas and a Moxie New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!
It's the menswear sale of the season. Dunn's Tailor's Boxing Day sale is being held over through New Year's. You can take advantage of tremendous savings. Famous quality names you've seen elsewhere, but at much lower prices. Thousands of suits, sport jackets, blazers, pants, shirts, ties, sweaters, and sportswear at prices that simply cannot be beaten. Dunn's has been known for over 50 years for quality, service, and selection. Now get the same famous values at end-of-the-year prices during the Boxing Day sale, held over at Dunn's Tailor's 480 Granville at Pender.
The RE/MAX Home Tour is on the air. All week, the RE/MAX Mobile Production Studio tours Vancouver Island, videotaping a cross-section of the finest properties listed for sale. Watch the RE/MAX Home Tour Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. It's here on Check TV, Vancouver Island's home tour.
Gloves are off at your participating Up Island Honda dealers. Buy or lease a new 1998 Civic sedan and take delivery by January 5th. We'll make your first payment, plus drive away with 3.8% financing. Rev in the new year at Campbell River Honda in Campbell River and Nanaimo Honda in Nanaimo.
Our question of the day, the federal government is considering approving the use of growth hormones to boost milk production in cows. Would you have any health concerns about drinking that milk? And here are some of the comments.
Nope. Not one bit. Not a bit at all. I wouldn't touch milk if it was a hormone injected. It's just as bad as eating half the stuff that they force already feed down with all the junk that they got in it now. I won't eat it.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea, but I think it's up to an individual, and I think it would be good to have choice. I personally wouldn't drink it.
Approved by the government, you'd have to assume that it was okay. Great big leap of faith, I imagine.
Would you feel safe drinking milk?
I imagine I would, yeah.
I don't like anything that's artificial in anything.
No, because look at what's happened with the stuff that they've already fiddled around with. You know, in the past, we've always had problems with pesticides and this and that, and just fooling around with a natural thing, I don't think is right. I think they should just leave it alone. If it's going to take, you know, there's small children that are going to be drinking that, and who's to say down the road what's going to happen? And we never did that years ago, so why change it now? Stay the way it is. Don't change anything.
Okay, we're going straight back to the phones. We'll try to get as many calls in as we can because I know that there are a lot of people who'd like to join the debate. We'll start with Sharon in Abbotsford. Hi, Sharon.
Hi there.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi. I would just like to comment basically
my concern is the additives that they tend to keep approving, whether it be FDA in the United States or Health and Welfare Canada. They'll allow it, and then years down the road, it's like, oops, sorry. And I guess I'm just tired as a consumer of being guinea pigs. And so I personally have started to take things into my own hands where I can, as far as like a bread maker where I don't have to have the additives of bread, et cetera, et cetera. But I really don't want to have to get a cow to get my own.
Could be a problem for apartment dwellers.
I would really prefer to, have not the additives.
Right.
My goal, I guess, is just to stay natural as possible, because I feel like we as a public have just been experimented on over the years.
Okay, well, thank you for that perspective. There were some comments that you were making during the break about that kind of thing, about the history of this. What do you have to say?
I think one of the things we need to look at with Monsanto, who's a company who wants to get BGH licensed in Canada, their record hasn't been very good. In October, there was an urgent appeal that was made by scientists from around the world urging all governments of all countries to bar from their markets Monsanto's genetically altered soybean. This is a soybean that's been treated with a herbicide. The research shows that it increases plant estrogens, which can be harmful to mammals and humans. I think every...
So were you saying that it was already out on the market and then they had to do like a recall of a soybean?
That's right. It was approved. Millions of acres were planted with the soybean.
Oh, you're kidding.
I mean, it's very likely that soybean has already shown up in at least four baby formulas. So nursing mothers or mothers that are feeding formula to babies should be really concerned.
So how do they find out more? Because I know right now I can almost feel all those people out there who are using soybeans. How do you get more information?
I'd be happy to send them whatever information I have.
Okay. So if they can contact you then. All right. So
I have a tremendous amount of information on this too.
Okay. And I think probably the internet is also
And Alive magazine has been very proactive on this cause.
Okay. Let's talk to Sharon from Salt Spring Island. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Dee. Hello, Michelle. I'm one of the people who signed the petitions and has also written off letters.
Right.
So you know that you have my support. I'm against this for a variety of reasons. I don't think that we can assume just because something receives government approval that it's safe to then trust that thing. Like the diet drug fen-phen, there's been many food additives that have proven to be not so good for us in the long run.
Right.
So just because the American government says it's okay or the Canadian government says it's okay, I don't think that's really the case. I think there's also the issue of cruelty to animals. I'm a vegetarian. That's part of the reason why I'm a vegetarian. And, you put all this effort into trying to have a healthy diet, and you want to try to eliminate as many non-natural things from that diet. And
okay. Well, thank you for that, Sharon. I'm sorry, I have to. I want to make sure we talk about the libel suit. So obviously, so she's agreeing with you. I need to, and thanks for that. Now I need to ask you about these libel suits in the United States. What is that all about?
Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and out of Vermont, tried to. This was a couple of years ago, was labeling their product, their ice cream, which is sold across the U.S. As being BGH free. Monsanto wasn't happy with that. They had all sorts of state officials down their back saying, "You've got to get your ice cream off we're going to take it off the shelves unless you remove that label." There were
that's ridiculous. If it's a private company, they should be able to. I mean, you're just saying it doesn't have it in there. I guess they thought it was.
If BGH is such a good thing, then why can we not give the consumers the choice? Consumers should know what is in our food. If it's genetically altered at all, or if we're adding something to it, we have the right to know.
Now, what's interesting is that I see from one of these articles that the FDA in the United States, so the Food and Drug Administration, has also warned people that they should not have labels of some of these companies, not to label their stuff BST free. And what's interesting is that the lawyer speaking, or the official responsible from the FDA, was also the lawyer at the firm that Monsanto was using to sue some of these companies before he went to the FDA. That's kind of a conflict. I mean, that's one of those interesting behind-the-scenes kinds of things.
I think there's a big conflict between with Monsanto and the American Food and Drug Administration. 3 officials, 3 top people from Monsanto have gone over to the Food and Drug Administration, and in fact, one of them, it sounded like one of the researchers was going to be, in fact, reviewing her own research.
Okay. Let's talk to Jim now in North Vancouver. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
This drug was banned in some European countries.
Right.
One of the reasons was the dairy cows were going down with different diseases.
Right.
Then the vet would come and start putting in drugs, which eventually get passed on to humans. And I honestly believe that Canada should get all the information from the countries in Europe, like the UK, I think Denmark and Norway, and ban this drug, because we don't need it. But my biggest fear is when MAI comes into effect in Canada, because then the door is open.
Yeah, you talk about the multilateral agreement on investment.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you for raising those points. Again, he's pointing to an international trade agreement. Well, why the controversy? I don't want to sound like we're all talking with one voice, because we do have things from the FDA saying there are very few substances that have been as researched as this one, that in terms of what they think they're acting responsibly by allowing it to be on the American market. How could a government agency be so pro this and have it raise so many concerns?
I think the fact that they are pro it or for it so much is, I think, because they have a very close relationship with Monsanto. Yes, it has been very much researched, but a lot of the research has been done by Monsanto themselves, and I think research can be made to say a lot of things. And I don't think they've really studied it long term. They're not really making the connection between what it's doing, what are some of the byproducts of BGH that are then going to be affecting humans and human health.
Okay, we have to take a break, and we'll be right back. We'll be taking more of your calls, and we're talking about hormones in our milk.
At Thrifty Foods, we're bulking up in bulk foods.
Thrifty Foods make shopping an enjoyable experience.
Casa Fiesta refried beans, they're excellent. I like my tacos. They add an extra touch, they add some protein, wonderful flavor.
What's your favorite type of yogurt?
Well, the flavor and the healthy food. Ask about our delicious meal solutions at Thrifty Foods.
Thrifty Foods.
All the staff of both Boston Pizza locations wish you and yours the warmest of the holiday season. They hope the new year brings you prosperity and a good appetite. Merry Christmas. Gordy Dodd and the folks at Dodd's Furniture appreciate your patronage over the past year. They trust you will have a safe holiday and a bountiful new year. Season's greetings. Luggy and the rug cleaning experts at Lug-A-Rug wish you and your family a terrific Christmas. Enjoy your time with family and friends in the season of giving. Have a happy holiday.
If you want to stop smoking in one night, you must see hypnotist Romaine. Thousands stop smoking with no stress, no withdrawal, no weight problems.
Vance Romaine has changed my whole life.
There was no withdrawal.
I have no cravings at all.
Threw the cigarettes away that night.
If I can do it, you can do it. Try it, it works.
Receive a written lifetime guarantee. Romaine is coming to your area. Coming to Victoria, Courtney, Campbell River, and Nanaimo. Call Ticketmaster or Tidemark Theater for tickets.
Has the answer.
Let your Victoria Symphony bring drama, excitement, and romance to your life.
Experience classic grandeur with conductor Rafi Armenian and violin soloist Moishe Hammer performing Mozart's Violin Concerto No. 5 at the Royal Theatre, Sunday, January 11th and Monday, January 12th. Call 386-6121 for your tickets.
Your Victoria Symphony. You'll love to hear us play.
We're talking about an ingredient that may be added to our milk. In fact, today we've just learned that the federal government is going to be appointing an advisory committee early in the new year to study this. We'll try to take as many calls as we can in this segment. And we'll start with Myrna in Victoria.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, who will profit financially from this adding of the hormones to the milk to let the cows produce more milk? The people who will profit financially are those who manufacture the hormone, the people who manufacture the antibiotics, and the people who will have to test the milk. Now, who is going to be the losers? The farmer whose milk is rejected because it has too much antibiotics in it, and the consumers who will probably have side effects and illness from consuming this milk. I want to say to the manufacturers of the hormone and the antibiotics to use their expertise and intelligence into producing things that are more productive with and to use their intelligence with integrity, not to grab dollars off of something that will cause illness and is of no use whatsoever.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Myrna. She raises an issue that goes beyond this one, the whole bioengineering thing and how it's affected Canadian farmers. And some people say that in order to compete on the world market, we have to be doing what people are doing in other countries. And that means taking all the technology and experimentation.
I'm not so sure that we say what they're doing in other countries. The multinational corporations, the pharmaceutical companies who are giving the stimulus and research to this whole biotechnology, they are multinational corporations. And by the international trade agreements that are being developed, they are going to be dominant within that. If anyone wants to make a lot of money and look at an area on this planet where there will be continual growth, it is look at population.
Food, yeah.
And what does the population need? More food.
Right.
The multinationals are stepping in at this moment for their bottom line, not for the benefit of people.
Okay, well, let's take a call now from Leonard in Vancouver. Hi, Leonard.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, go ahead.
Oh, fine. I just wanted to speak with regarding like the multinationals, like Monsanto have their Roundup products and stuff like that goes into the feed.
Right.
And through the actual feed that goes to the cattle, you're actually spreading sort of a genetic pollution that goes into that. And then the cattle eat it, and then this gets passed on to the people. I'm also aware of the FDA down in the States are pushing a bill, a reform bill, H.R. 1411, which basically contains a provision that will undermine the consumer's rights to know what has been done to food products, drugs,
Yeah,
and
that's
cosmetics.
really disturbing stuff. I mean, you know, like if it's such a great thing, let us know. I mean,
Right.
are we so stupid that we shouldn't be told because we'll, you know, run around? Okay, well, thank you for raising that. Some good points there. To me, I figured like if it should be something that people are prepared to defend, and that we shouldn't have all of these laws prohibiting us from knowing.
No, we should have a right. We have a right to know what is in our food. If you look at what nutritionists and doctors tell you, you know, when you're concerned about maybe you're not getting enough vitamins or minerals, they all say it's better to get it from our food than to be taking it in concentrated amounts in vitamins. And yet, by the same token, we're doing Monsanto and is trying to do everything we can to see that our milk is no longer the natural product or as natural product as it once was. You know, they want to alter it, and we don't know what the complications are going to be.
Let's take a call from Jackson in Richmond. Hi,
Hello,
Jackson.
hello.
Hi. Go ahead.
I guess I just want to say it never ceases to amaze me about humans' innate sense to want to fiddle with nature when there was nothing, to make it better.
Right.
When there was nothing wrong with it in the first place.
Right.
You know, what goes around comes around, I guess. And are we living in a democracy? Are we?
Okay.
Because I just wanted to make sure on that.
Okay, well, that's a provocative point. But let's put all this aside for a second. There are a lot of people who will say population is out of control on the globe, food production has to go up, and therefore the government has to work with agencies like Monsanto to try to maximize food production. That would be the argument that they would put forward for this. And you know, I'm concerned, I don't want this to just seem like a one-sided debate. So let's push that envelope for a second. What if we're trying to maximize food production?
That's somewhat an invalid argument by the multinational. As I said before, They are concerned only with the bottom line. The lack of food in many areas of this world is due to the local wars they've been having, where land has gone out of production. Also, let's face it, global climate change is having an effect. And who is causing that?
Well, all of us.
All of us.
All of us. We're all responsible for that.
We're not exhibiting the precautionary principle at all.
And that would be, if in doubt, err on the side of caution?
That's right.
Okay. Wasn't sure about that one. But anyway, we have to take a quick break. We'll be back, and we're talking about hormones in our milk. And if you disagree with us, don't be afraid to phone in. We're quite prepared to. It's not just me. I'm talking about the guests. We'll be right back.
New Ultra Downy introduces Downy Care. You get more than fluffy softness. Now it helps keep clothes looking like new.
Keep the new look of it. That's the way you love it.
New Ultra Downy cares for bright cottons in the rinse cycle. Over time, it helps keep them looking more like new.
Keep the new look of it. Take the best care of it. Only Downy does it. Come on in.
And only Downy has the Ultra Downy ball. Toss it in for Downy's best fabric care ever. Downy Care.
What I'm about to show you could dramatically change the way you think about caring for your teeth. This special light shows the hard-to-reach places your toothbrush may not reach, where problems can start. You need protection here. Introducing new Crest Multicare. With brushing, it helps fight tartar and cavities. And Multicare's foaming action delivers fluoride protection to exposed spaces between teeth, where it's difficult for your toothbrush to reach. New Crest Multicare, the Crest way to protect hard-to-reach places.
Celebrate with Party Time Volume 3, featuring Milli Vanilli, Salt and Pepper, Ram Jam, The Contours, and Boney M. 23 tracks of pure party mania, including Rick James. Over 75 minutes of explosive hits. It's the greatest collection of party hits ever. Pump it up at your next party with Party Time Volume 3. You just can't party without it. From SPG, in stores now.
Hi, I'm Party from Remax in Nanaimo. I'd like to wish all my clients, friends, and family a very Merry Christmas and a safe holiday season. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Susan McGugan of Remax of Nanaimo, wishing you a fabulous 1998.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all your friends at Remax of Nanaimo.
And coming up, tomorrow we're going to do something kind of mischievous. It's a year in review, and also I'm going to give you my list of the top 20 most influential people in BC, and we'll hear from you on that. And then on Thursday, we're rebroadcasting Jericho Hill, something that if you haven't seen, please tune in for. Very important issue. Friday, okay, it's a lot of fun. It's my birthday, so it's also my husband's birthday, and I thought we should have an astrologer in, and they can tell us about the stars. All right, it's kind of frivolous. Anyway, so something much more important. What we thought we'd do in this segment is actually take 3 calls in a row because they're going to tell us a little bit on this issue, and that way we can get as many calls in as possible. And so we'll start with Les in Victoria. Hi, Les.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
I'll try to be brief.
Okay.
I'm reading from Dr. Warren Bell of Salmon Arm Observer.
Yes.
Global Health.
Okay.
It's on the issue.
Okay.
No research so far in Canada has allayed the concerns of the public's concerns for this.
Right.
But south of the border, Monsanto has a simple solution for government intransigence. Monsanto and the U.S. government have jointly developed a long-standing revolving door policy. Government lawmakers take jobs as Monsanto executives and vice versa on a regular basis.
Right.
A vice president of Monsanto is even the front runner for U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. To me, that's a wow.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's quite shocking, and that's from the Salmon Arm Observer.
Yes.
Okay.
October the 15th, 1997.
Okay.
And the Canadian government is also developing closer and closer ties with the overall corporate agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Only time will tell whether Monsanto, this most combative of corporations,
Right.
will corrupt our legislatures and have its way with them and us.
Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing that. Corrupt our legislatures. Some of us would argue, we're kind of there already. But anyway, It's a little joke, little legislature joke. We'll take another call quickly. Fred in Vancouver. Hi, Fred.
Yes?
Hi, go ahead.
Yes, did you know that this is DES, diethylstilbestrol? Is that what you're talking about?
BHT, is it the same thing?
No.
BGH?
No, we're talking about BGH or RBST.
Recombinant
bovine growth hormone.
Oh, I was calling about the hormone that they gave to chicken, male chicken, and it turned them into turkeys just after the war. They pulled it off. They pulled that substance off the market.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that little nightmare. Okay.
DES.
DES. Well, thanks, Fred. Yikes. All right, let's talk to Ronnie in Victoria. Hi, Ronnie.
Oh, hi, Judy. I'd just like to make a comment. While I was doing research regarding female hormone replacement therapy, I was reading a book by Marcus Laux, and he says a common misconception is that the FDA uses its own labs to test drugs for safety. What actually happens is that the drug companies test their own drugs, then submit the results to the FDA. Now, the average cost of testing a single drug is now $112 million. So there's a lot at stake here. So there's a lot of potential for abuse because the stakes are very high.
Where do you get the figure of $112 million?
I got it out of this book I'm reading, Marcus Laux, and the name of the book is called Natural Woman, Natural Menopause.
Oh, I've seen that in the bookstores.
Yes, it's a wonderful book, and I recommend it to any woman who's doing research on hormone replacement therapy.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get as many calls in as possible. I'm very scared now. Is this fear-mongering? I mean, all these comments, all of these things are very interesting.
I think it's really important, if people are concerned about the issue, concerned that they could end up with tainted milk, hormones in their bodies that weren't meant to be there, that they do something. I think it's really important to get letters sent to Alan Rock, the Minister of Health, to Lyle Van Cleef, the Minister of Agriculture, talk to your MPs, tell your supermarket managers
Especially
that you don't
tell your
want...
local MPs, because often they can raise it in debate as well, because this may come up for debate in the House of Commons.
That's right. Let everyone know that you can, that this is not a good thing, this isn't going to help any of us.
Okay, you wanted to make
pertinent to the last caller regarding finances, we must remember that Monsanto offered the department in Ottawa $2 million if they would speed up the process. I use the word offer instead of bribe.
Yeah, right. Okay, we have to be careful, I guess. Well, I wonder what the Americans watching think. I know they can't phone in, but we do have watchers down there. Let's talk to Bill now in Powell River. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, go ahead.
I seemed to notice a surprise when you were told about bioengineered foods. There's over 40 products that are now biogenetically engineered foods in our product right now, and they refuse to label them.
Yeah,
There's
I know
no labeling whatsoever.
Right, more and more we're moving toward the sort of the genetically engineered foods.
Right.
Right.
I wanted to mention, too, that I believe aspartame comes from Monsanto and was never tested either.
Okay.
That's another dangerous item on the market that is just being swallowed up by children wholesale.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that.
I'd just like to make a comment to that, in that aspartame, there may be some links to between that and brain tumors. It's a very dangerous additive.
If it's that dangerous, why isn't there something happening there?
Because
I mean, a lot of people use it. I don't use it myself.
There isn't enough. It's not getting the
Specific evidence.
attention. I don't think it's used equal. So a lot of diabetics use aspartame.
So wouldn't there be something that showed that diabetics had a disproportionate amount of this thing occurring?
If they were tested for it, I suppose.
Okay, I want to take one more call quickly, and let's talk to Elsa in Duncan. Hi, Elsa.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
Why are we all for these hormones when the small farmer out there, the government's making them dump their milk?
Yeah, well, I think that's an excellent last question, actually. We've seen that with the milk surplus and the way milk is marketed or managed, but some of them had to dump it.
So why are we trying to increase milk production? I mean, it serves no one. It's important to remember the only one this is going to serve is Monsanto. It isn't going to benefit, I don't believe, any Canadians, the small farmer, it's going to make it harder on them because they're going to have increased costs, more antibiotics, and maybe 1 or 2 cents more in the milk. That's all. It's not going to help anybody.
We're out of time, but thank you both for coming. And we will also remind people how they can contact their ministers at the end of the show. And if you'd like to contact us, this is how you can do it. You can write to Tyabji at 780 Kings Road, Victoria, BC, V8T 582. Fax is at 250-389-1226. Email is tyabji@wic.ca. And our internet website, which has information from this and other shows, is www.checktv.com. And our thanks to our guests, and we'll be right back after a quick break.
If you've ever tried Secret Antiperspirant, you know there's something working. It's dryness. And now there's a completely new secret that goes on invisibly. New Secret Sheer Dry. It's the dryness protection I want that's strong enough for him, but made for me. And it glides on clear. For sheer protection, give me strength. Give me New Secret Sheer Dry. Strong enough for a man. But it's clearly for you.
Hi, babe. I had to change your plans. I got a ticket to the game tonight. Make it up to you. I love you.
The magic of Max Factor.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me.
That's the Max Factor.
Honey? What do you love about MeTV?
For me, it's sports.
Everyone has found their favorites.
So into history.
But alas, the MeTV free preview will soon be history. So call today to order. Then you can keep on enjoying all of MeTV's 16 great channels whenever you want, wherever you want.
For me, it's comedy.
Call 1-888-ROGERS-1 to get MeTV for as little as $5.99 a month. You could even win 50 grand. Be sure to order before the preview ends.
Your eyes are essential to your life, your work. If you're tired of being nearsighted and hassling with glasses and contacts, maybe we can help. Thanks to the excimer laser, a scientific revolution in eye surgery, you can see and look your best. The excimer laser makes no incision in your eye. Instead, computer-targeted pulses shape your eye for clearer, better vision. Make your next career move a visit to London Place Eye Center. Please call 1-800-668-7483.
If you were doing up a list of the top people in BC, would this man be on the list? I'm talking about influence. And in my Canadian way, the list of 1 to 20 does not say which order of importance they're in, but there are 20 different categories. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And Mike Smith joins me again. He's made up a list of 10, and we want to hear from you. Who do you think had the most influence on the agenda in 1997? Now, in case you want to know how to contact the federal ministers responsible for the subject we talked about today, here's how you can do it. You can write to the Honourable Alan Rock, the Minister of Health, and the Honourable Lyle Van Cleef, the Minister of Agriculture, at the House of Commons, Ottawa, Ontario, K1A, OC5. You do not need a stamp. I'm extremely concerned myself about food production in Canada. I have been for years. We'll return to the subject. See you tomorrow.